Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hopefully, everyone can hear me. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Let me know where you're coming from in chat. My name is Dusty. Welcome to this week's live stream here on the TubeBuddy channel. Hello, everyone. Hello, Andrew. Thank you for setting this up as always. Wouldn't you know that the day we are talking about audio, of course, my biggest fear is that, unfortunately, my audio doesn't work today. So hopefully that does not happen. If you guys can hear me okay, hopefully the audio is coming through okay. Unfortunately, the most recent Windows update. Normally, I do things from a Mac, but because of the way the stream works, I'm doing it on a PC. It's a little quiet, Andrew says, so we can kind of bump that up just a bit here on my end. Hello, Lily. Hello, Top News. Aaron, Tech in the Bathroom. We got Dan here. We have Kate here. Hopefully, you guys can hear me okay. I'm going to go ahead and bump this up just a little bit there. We can kind of bump it up here, make it sound just a little bit a little bit louder here. So we'll go ahead and pull the microphone a little closer to my mouth here. Yeah, my biggest fear was talking about audio today and having some audio issues. So one of my passions, one of my favorite things to talk about is audio. I'm a podcaster, and so that's very important to what I do. And as someone who is a video creator as well, obviously on YouTube and doing things here with TubeBuddy, audio is important to me. And so we're gonna jam on that today just for a little bit before we get into the questions. Hopefully all of you are having a wonderful day today. I'm actually going to go ahead and go over here to the dashboard so I can see everyone that is in here. So also, after we get done with the main conversation about audio, Andrew has posted there in chat a questionnaire where you can ask me questions. We probably could keep it pretty relevant if you want to talk about audio or equipment or something like that, if that's something that's interesting to you. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and jump in here in just a few minutes. I already see a couple of questions kind of filtering in there. Mia, how are you today? Hopefully all of you are having a wonderful day. I'm going to actually grab my water behind me, so just excuse me as I break the fourth wall just for a brief second here. There we go. Always stay hydrated when doing a stream like this, especially when you're talking about something that you are passionate about. So let me go ahead and get a little bit of water here. Sarav, Nightmare Gadgets, Mia, Dylan's Woodworks, Dypish Tech, Prankster 7. Welcome, everyone kind of funneling in here. Nightmare Gadgets, my voice sounds weird in video. English is not my native language. Yeah, I mean, the way that works is, again, it's one of those things to where a lot of times people hate the way that their voice sounds, which really they have no reason to. Kate, you say your dog keeps barking. You think that she wants a shout out. Well, I'm going to give your dog a shout out. Hello, Kate's dog. Hopefully you'll stop barking now. Tech Moby, hello. Dylan, how are you, man? Yeah, we got you guys coming in from all over the place, which is amazing. But kind of what I was referring to there about people's voices and kind of how they really think that their voices are worse than they really are. You may think that your voice sounds weird, or you may think that your voice is not appropriate or suitable for video, but that's not the case. Normally, if you just do it more and more, you'll get more and more okay with it as time goes on. So that's how it goes. Kate, that was spooky. She actually stopped. Hey, listen, I'm a dog whisperer, okay? Just remember that. Cab7, I'm doing great. Thanks so much for asking. Hope you're doing well. Cab, thank you so much. All right, guys, so we're about 5 minutes in here, and I'm gonna kind of open up with kind of what we're gonna talk about today. I know this is more of a technical topic today, but that's okay. I think that as time progresses here on the TubeBuddy channel, as we live stream, we're gonna need to get into more of the weeds per se, and talk about some things that you guys may have not thought of before. And so I'm really wanting to do that today when it comes to talking about audio. I actually had a demonstration, a visual demonstration that I wanted to show you guys. So I'm actually going to grab something out of my drawer here. So give me 1 second. All right, so I had to get a cable here. I wanted to kind of show something to you guys shortly in concerning audio here. All right. So let's talk about the one thing that we're going to talk about, we're going to focus on today, that is audio. So when it comes to audio, there's a couple of things you can think of. You can think of the audio, whether it be the music or something kind of behind your voice, and then you can also talk about yourself, the on-person audio, whether it be a standalone microphone that is like what you see here in front of me. So this microphone here that you're seeing here that I'm kind of pulling up and down, this microphone is called the Shure SM7B or 7.8, depending on who you're talking to. This microphone is not what I call on-person microphone. This is what I call an arm microphone. And then there's different types of microphones. You then have like lapel microphones, which is what I take to weddings when I do wedding videography. And then you attach those to, say, the person's shirt or the person's tie or, somewhere around. And then you have like a boom microphone or an arm microphone where basically you have that microphone kind of angled towards the person who's speaking, and that's kind of picking up the audio there. So there's a bunch of a ton of different microphones that you can think about when you're talking about audio. So I'm going to talk about all of them today and kind of give you my opinions on what you can do to improve your microphone. So before we even jump into that, I want to talk about a couple of different things. The first thing that you need to think about is, what is your recording space? Where are you recording? Okay, and what is that going to do to your audio? People don't think about this a lot of times. They really think about more the microphone, but you've got to think about how the place that you're recording in. Okay, so the way that it works is this. In my recording studio here, you can't really see it, but if you look above me here to the right and to the left, you can see the sound panels that I have all over my studio. I'm looking in front of me. I have sound panels all on that wall. All to the right over here, I have sound panels, and all behind me, I have sound panels. I ordered these off of Amazon. They are very cheap. They are, again, something that you can get very, very inexpensively if you're willing to do that. So if you treat the space that you record in, you're gonna go ahead and be ahead of the people who aren't doing this. This is going to be the first step, okay? And also, if you can, try and choose a recording space or a room that has carpet on the floor. So you don't want to be recording in a room that is hardwood floors, because what happens is audio, sound waves, they reverberate, they bounce off of the hardwood floor. And so that makes it a lot more difficult for you to get a better or a more suitable recording space. Again, just trust me on that one, okay? And then even on my left over here, I have sound panels. Now, the next thing I did is I have something that is called a bass trap. I'm actually going to search for a bass trap now to show you guys exactly what they look like, so you guys can kind of see exactly what I'm talking about. If I go ahead and show you guys, there's a couple of bass traps. I mean, they're very, very simple. So here's kind of the one that I have here. I'm actually going to switch over to screen capture here, where you guys can kind of see. Yeah, I'm just going to do the screen cap here. So if you take a look here, these guys here, these are actually what bass traps look like. So bass traps are these things here. They basically look like something you put in the corner of your room. And so you put these in all four corners, and that kind of soaks up the bass and makes the audio sound even that much better. All right, so we're going to go ahead now and nope, that's not the one I wanted to do. This is the one I wanted to do. I'm going to go ahead and pop back over to the chat room here. So we got bass traps, and then we have the microphone, and we have, things such as that. All right, so once you have your room the way that you want it, once you have the room kind of soundproof, or not really soundproof, you just kind of, again, treated it to make it to where you want it to be. Andrew said, whoa, Dusty, whoa, I got a little crazy there. I apologize. But the bass panels, again, are going to be a big part of it. And if you have any questions as I'm discussing some of this stuff, you can put those in chat, and I will try and get to those as quickly as I possibly can. But welcome all of you new folks that are kind of coming down. Royal Learning Time said, should we put a throw rug down to do our cooking channel? I think so, because if you're in a kitchen, you're going to have a lot of places for the audio to kind of bounce about. And so if you're putting a rug down below you, that's going to eliminate that one problem. And so, yeah, I think that would be what would be something that would be helpful to you if you're in the kitchen and you're doing cooking things and stuff like that. And so a throw rug or something cheap, a cheap rug that you can put down below, definitely could help you out. So now that we've talked about the different types of things you can do to kind of treat your room, let's go ahead and now focus a little bit more on the microphones, the tools of the trade. So there are two different types of microphones. There are microphones that are USB, that plug directly from the microphone, the USB, into your computer to the USB port. Now, those would be what I call microphone step 1, okay? So you've got a USB microphone, okay, goes from the microphone like a Blue Yeti, okay, from the microphone directly to the computer via USB. Now, what do you lose with a microphone like this? Obviously, the pros are it's much more inexpensive. You can get these on a budget. Again, it's a little better if you're on a budget or you're on a tight budget. But what you're losing is you're losing the on-panel control. So you really have very little control for USB microphones, to where you can adjust them on the microphone maybe. But again, if you have the next type of microphone that I'm going to talk about, you're going to have much more control. Like earlier in the stream, Andrew said, Dusty, you're a little low. I was able to go to my sound, my audio interface and adjust it there, as opposed to messing with the gain on the microphone. So with a USB microphone, you're going to have, again, a lot less control over that audio. So remember that. And then the next type of microphone is going to be the XLR condenser microphone. So basically, it's like the microphone that you're seeing me use right now. I have another microphone over here. I'm not sure if you guys can see it right here. I'm going to kind of hold it up here. It's on another arm. I can't really pull it out. This is a XLR condenser microphone. So what that means is that I have the XLR cable, which looks like this. This is my visual here. So this is what an XLR cable looks like. You can kind of see here. I'm not sure if you guys can kind of see how that looks there. You'll plug the XLR microphone, or the cable, from the microphone into a audio interface. Now, again, you can use whatever audio interface you want to use. I prefer the Scarlett 2i2 because, again, I've worked with it for years and I just love the way that it works. And so what you'll do is you'll plug this cable from the microphone to that audio interface. Then the audio interface goes from USB, from the audio interface to the computer. Now, with the audio interface, you are able to have so much more control, to where I can monitor it with my headphones out of the audio interface, how it sounds before and after. I can change the gain, I can change the volume levels, and you can also see visually with the Scarlett 2i2 if the color is red, green, or yellow, and showing you exactly how loud you are. Now, with the microphones, there are other, I guess you would say accessories that you can add to them. Like you can see here, this microphone that I'm using here has an arm. This arm allows me to move the microphone all over my desk. I have this mounted on my desk here. This allows me to move that microphone all over the place, allowing me to get it exactly where I want it to be. Then with that, you also have something that's called a pop filter. So what you see here, this little filter, this little black thing, is actually the pop filter that tries to eliminate the P's, or the explosives in your voice. This is a big deal, especially when doing video. Something that gets annoying to me. Now, obviously, for me right now on this live stream, I'm not going to go through and edit this, as far as that goes. So what happens is you're going to hear more of those in this stream. But in a recorded video, if I have a pop filter, let me see if I can get this one off here. So if I have a pop filter, which looks something similar to this here, so you can see the pop filter that kind of goes over on top of the microphone to kind of cover it up here, you're going to see again that that's going to eliminate a lot of those pops. And if you're doing voiceovers, which is something that I do a lot of, professionally and for my YouTube channel, these little guys here are a big help in terms of eliminating those loud noises. Also, there are things called windscreens that are very similar to pop filters. You put those, they're like a circle, and they go in front of the microphone. Again, those are something that will help with those explosive P's and B's and sibilance is what a lot of people call it as well. So, you have the accessories that go with the microphone that will hopefully help you kind of, again, take it to the next level. But if you're just getting into this and you're just wanting to get started, a Blue Yeti USB to computer, very simple, very easy. Again, you don't have to mess with much. You don't have to know much about it. And that's kind of where I would go from there. Now, Andrew's asking about what about on-camera audio. So we've talked about these microphones, which are more for voiceovers, more for voiceover on video. Now, if you're talking about on-camera microphones, here's what I like to do for audio. I have a Zoom, a Zoom 4, H Zoom 4. I'm not sure exactly the model number that allows me to basically create my own boom mic. So I can basically have the Zoom, and I can attach it to a monopod or a tripod and put it near where I'm recording and have the camera in front of me, and then that would be a good source of on-camera audio. Now, the next step above that would be getting a lapel mic or something like a Tascam. Now, I recommend utilizing the Tascam. And what I mean by that is that with the Tascam, it's just basically an on-person lapel microphone that attaches to their shirt below their mouth. That then in post, you go back and you sync up the audio in the video. The one thing that I encourage people to try not to do is that a lot of on-camera built-in microphones that are on the cameras, like for what I use, the Sony A6500 or the Sony A7S II, those cameras, as good as they are, the mirrorless cameras or a Canon or a Nikon or whatever you're using, DSLR, Handycam, whatever you're going to do, those on-camera microphones are not really made to be that great. They're just not. They're just not very high quality. So if you can, try and get a boom microphone, try and get a lapel microphone, or if you need to, utilize a microphone like this to do the voiceover afterwards. Now, if you're a vlogger, obviously, and you're pointing the camera at you, then obviously you're going to be a little closer, and that audio will pick up. It just won't be the best it possibly can be. So if you are a vlogger and you're doing things like that, using those handy cams or using your DSLR or mirrorless camera can be beneficial, and it's okay to do, but again, it's not going to be what I would call the highest quality possible audio. So remember that. So if you guys have any questions about kind of what I'm talking about, let me know kind of down below. Now, I have a Canon 70D. Is it okay? Yeah, the on-camera mics are decent, especially for like the Canon 70D. I used to have that camera. They're decent. But if you're doing more detailed stuff, the way that works, unfortunately, is that you have to tweak the settings on the camera in order to get the best possible quality. Because what happens is, the gain on those cameras of the audio needs to be tweaked. People think they can just get them out of the box. They can start recording. The gain will need to be either tweaked down or tweaked up depending on kind of how loud you are. Kind of like what Dan says there. Just set your DSLR to manual to turn down the gain on the external mic jack. It makes a world of difference. And that's another point to make, right? You have external microphone jacks from those DSLR, from those mirrorless cameras. And so what you can do is, you know what, if you guys will just give me a second, bear with me, I will actually get my Sony A6500. So take a pause here, keep chatting there. Let me show you kind of what I'm talking about here. 1 second. All right. So I have a couple of things that I want to show you guys exactly kind of. Let me kind of get my curtain here kind of fixed. So when you have a DSLR microphone, Kevin, what about the Blue Yeti? So I talked about the Blue Yeti. It's a great USB microphone. It's a great starter microphone. I completely think it's a wonderful alternative. I don't think it's the best, but again, it is an option. So what you're going to see here is this is the Sony A6500, and the lens is kind of big there, and you're going to kind of see kind of, again, it's a little dirty. We worked a wedding this past weekend, so I do apologize for that. And you're going to see here that, unfortunately, the way that this mirrorless camera is made, and again, it's a feature that I really dislike about this camera, is that it doesn't have like an onboard. It has like one little microphone, like an out that you can kind of monitor the audio. So it kind of has basically nothing in regards of audio. But what it does have is up here above on the top of the microphone, it has a slot where you can slide in, say, an on, camera microphone. And so what I have is something that is called this guy right here. This is the Rode Pro. Okay, this guy right here. It's a Rode Pro, and you just slide that in. So I can actually just show you guys. I can show you. If we go here. Andrew said no swivel, no headphones. Yeah, it's there is an external like thing you can get from Amazon, Andrew, that will allow you to attach headphones, but it's very frustrating. So if we go here and we just basically slide this into the camera, now you can see on top of the camera I have a microphone. It's kind of like a built-in boom mic. So that's one option for on-camera audio. Now, the better option, in my opinion, is going to be to ooh, I almost spilled my water there. Is going to be this guy right here. This is what I was telling you guys about just a few seconds ago. This, again, is the Zoom H4n Pro. So as you can see here, I've bought a pop filter for it as well. So this guy here, what you do is you can see below here, it's got two XLR options here. You can actually attach this to any camera like that if you know what you're doing, if you can run the audio to where you want it to be. And also, normally what I do is I attach this to my monopod and I'll put it over like the bride or the groom as they're talking, and I can get audio there. And so again, the Zoom is a good option. And again, just like I was talking about earlier, you use this XLR cable, you plug this in, and then basically you can run the audio from this, from your soundboard, from anywhere you want, and it works really, really good. So the Rode Pro is fantastic. The Rode Pro Plus is fantastic, because what happens is the microphone that comes with, like the camera here, the one that I'm showing you guys, the Sony A6500, and my other camera, which is the Sony A7S II, when I take it out to a job, or I go and I do a lot of commercials around here, around locally, when I go do stuff like that, normally what I'll do is I'll mic the person via a lapel microphone, like a Tascam or something like that, and then I'll basically run it that way, and I'll also put the Zoom close to them as well and get 2 or 3 different audio. You always want to have a backup of your backup. You don't want to lose a bunch of stuff and then have to come back. But the Zoom H4n is fantastic. The Rode microphones kind of on board the camera is really, really good as well. So what questions do you guys have? What questions do you guys have about audio? We'll get to those questions that are on the questionnaire. Andrew can drop that link. I know we got a bunch of kind of questions here. We got 10 already, which is amazing. But what questions do you guys have in regards to kind of what we talked about today? YouTube in general, kind of growing on YouTube. That's kind of what we're here for. I want to take this moment as we kind of take a little break here, a little breather, to thank TubeBuddy that has allowed us to do this stream every single month for the past year or two. There's a ton of great streamers that get on here and stream, talk about YouTube, talk about things like I'm talking about today, which is amazing. Let's see here. CJ says the Takstar mic. I've actually played with that one. That one's really, really good. Dylan, I sent some questions into the Google Docs. Thanks, Dusty. You are absolutely welcome. Vern said, yes, I learned the hard way, not having a backup. Yeah, when you don't have a backup, man, that's, man, it's a scary thing, especially when you do what I do with weddings. It's very nerve-wracking to think that you're going to get back to your studio and start exporting all of that content and something go wrong. Or like a podcaster recording an interview, you want to have backups of your backups. Can you explain the schematic of the XLR use audio interface to PC? Okay, so Vern, maybe I didn't do a great job with that. Really show exactly kind of what that is. So basically, Vern, the way that it's going to work is out of the microphone. So out of this microphone here, this is the Shure SM78 or 7B, whatever you want to call it. And as you can see, here is the XLR cable right here. Okay, this XLR cable is going directly into my audio interface, which is called the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 interface. So XLR from microphone to interface. Then, with a USB cable, you plug the audio interface from the interface to your PC or Mac via USB cable. That allows you to have onboard control. Now, you can even have a soundboard if that's something you want to do, like your audio interface may be a soundboard. I like the Scarlett Si2. And so what happens is that the signal is going from this to the interface to the PC or the Mac. Andrew says XLR is analog, and it takes the analog signal, uses his interface to turn that analog signal into a digital one. Yes, that is definitely the tech side of it when you're talking about what it's doing with the actual file going to the PC or the Mac. Completely, that is 100% what is happening. But what you can do is you can actually have more control, and that's kind of what I want to encourage you guys to do. I didn't really want to get into too much of that kind of tech side of it, but Andrew is exactly right on the point that he's making. Oh, someone asked the technical side? Oh, okay. But that's basically what it's doing. And Vern, that's a great question. And Andrew, you can tell that he's kind of, as he said earlier in the stream, Andrew, you must have dabbled with audio and tried to what I've learned is the more mistakes you make in audio, the more you're going to learn, the more on top of these things that you can get. And so that's absolutely right. Now, a lot of people will plug their microphone into like a condenser or something that's going into their computer. And so it's very important to understand what your audio is doing in order to kind of go and that kind of thing. Kate says, I'm always late. All right, and lastly with audio, I want to talk about what you do to your audio after you record it. This is important. This is critical. A lot of times, people focus on the video. So they focus on the video side of things in post-production, but they don't do anything to the audio. I want to encourage you guys, if you're using Audacity, which is free, or you're using Adobe Audition, which is, again, very inexpensive now with the subscription model, in post, I want you to play with your audio. If the levels look like they're peaking, then I want you to reduce the volume. If the levels look like, again, they're really low, I want you to kind of increase that. With Audition, the software that I use, it allows you to actually remove the background noise or white noise as much as possible again. And again, tweak your audio, make some different changes. Like right now on OBS, I have a couple of filters applied to my microphone. And if I go here and go to filters, I have a compressor, a noise gate, and a noise suppression. So there's a lot of different things that you can do in audio in post that allows you to make your audio sound better. So if you're in your microphone and you're like this and you're talking really quietly and really softly, people can't hear what you're saying. But there's some kind of some band-aids you can put on audio in post that'll make it sound even better or help you fix some problems that maybe your audio has. So, Doc World, how much price for your mic? It just really depends, to be completely honest with you. This microphone here costs $400, the Shure SM78. My voiceover microphone, the Neumann microphone, it costs a lot more than that. The Blue Yeti microphone costs like $100, $70 if you get it on a deal. So it really just depends on kind of the microphone that you're going to use. Do you suggest not using Mac for live streaming with OBS? I think using a Mac for live streaming with OBS isn't a problem now. With the older versions of OBS, yes, it was an issue. The Mac platform and OBS didn't play well together. I switched over to my PC because I built this PC specifically for streaming, but it really just depends. Do you recommend highlighting all the audio clips and normalizing peaks or another method? That's a really good question. I apply the noise gate, so I apply like the noise floor. So I eliminate any background noise below a certain or above, below or above a certain deal. But realistically, I don't like applying any filters to just segments of audio, because what happens is your audio will then sound differently in different segments, especially editing podcast or video audio, something like that. So. Andrew, it doesn't matter. The microphone is just a tool. If you don't know how to use it, it won't sound great. Research and learn. Yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to do this kind of topic today. I feel like there's a lot about audio that people don't understand, and that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it. I've had some weird issue with the Zoom H4n Pro and XLR mic and OBS to stream. Massive delays, 20 seconds. Any suggestions? You've got to go into OBS and change those delay settings with your audio. I've tweaked those. I tweak those every week I stream. A lot of that's going to be in-house on OBS and not necessarily with your microphone, so definitely go check that out. Dylan, I certainly appreciate this session. I hope so, man. I think this is something that people can go back on and watch it later and help them as well if they didn't catch on to all of it as we're talking about it here. All right, I'm going to dive into a couple of the questions here on the Google form here, just kind of see what you guys are asking. Sackboy D says, how do I improve the quality of any audio file before applying it to any video? That's kind of what I just discussed. Take it into a audio editor. Don't edit, people think they can edit audio in Final Cut or in Premiere Pro or in iMovie. You can do a little bit with audio in those video editors, but unfortunately, you really need to take it into like Adobe Audition or Audacity or Garage. I mean, I don't really like GarageBand, but if that's what you have, you can do it there. Can you show us Audacity or Audition? I can actually show you that. I was having some problems with my screen recorder a while ago, and I didn't want to have that kind of look really weird, but I'm going to show you kind of what I look at and kind of what I do. If I go to here, let me open up a recent. Let's just see. I'm going to go ahead and open up a piece of audio here from all right, let me take a look at this audio here, and I will show you guys exactly kind of the process that I go through when I'm editing audio here. So let me just pull something down from my Google Drive here. Here's one here. This would be a good example here. This will be a really good example here. All right. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to get this opened up for you here. All right, there we go. Now it's downloading. All right, let's open this. Oop. Now I just got to find the download, of course. That's how it all works, it seems like. All right. Sorry, guys. Just want to get this open for you guys so you can see kind of what I'm looking at here. Let's see here. There we go. I think this will work here. You're not going to be able to see everything. There we go. All right, so let me go ahead and put over an audio file into Adobe Audition here. All right, so we're going to open this up here. All right. As you can see here, this is kind of what I look at. So this is Adobe Audition, and so as you can see here, this is the wave file. So you have your wave file here. So as you can see, this is kind of the wave file. As I go through here, you can kind of see what's going on. And I'm going to go ahead and have it to where you guys can actually hear kind of what's going on my desktop here. So we're going to go here, and we're going to do this. There we go. I'm going to actually adjust it here so you guys, it's not going to be too loud for you guys.
But,
there we go. So this is the interview that I did with Brian on my podcast, the YouTube Creator Sub podcast. And as you can see here, there's little pieces in the audio, like right here.
Like if you search,
you know what? So when Brian talks, so this is kind of when I talk here. People, and then when he talks,
diet pills,
it's a little louder. So you can kind of see that in a waveform. So a lot of times what I'll do is, just to touch it up, is I'll highlight sections of the waveform, and I'll use the little kind of amplify here, and I will, raise it up, kind of level it out a little bit. That's kind of the first thing that I'll do, is I'll go and I'll try to level the audio as much as I possibly can. So I'll go through here and I'll adjust the audio and kind of level it out as much as I possibly can. And then what I'll do is I will kind of zoom out of the audio, kind of see what it looks like here. And then I'll go up to my favorites up here. And then I have one that's, you see one here that's normalize. That's kind of what I'll do. And I'll add a little normalization if that's, kind of what I want to do. And then what I'll do is I'll look for any background noise that may be happening. So you go look for like a blank space in the recording, and you see there's really not much background noise in this one. But what you do is you kind of look here and you select a blank space where the background noise will will be. And then you go up here and go to edit effects over here, and you go to noise reduction, process. And basically you capture the noise print and you apply that to the whole thing there. So realistically, within an audio editor, there's so much that you can do with audio. You know, I don't want you guys to just think that you can just, you know, have a piece of audio and then just basically it work completely for you. You've got to go into post and you really got to do it that way. So again, that's kind of what I would do, and that's kind of what I'm looking at. So what does normalization do? So normalization, the way that works is it'll normalize to a specific volume. And so normally what you want is you want the volume to be around anywhere from -3 to -6 dBs. You don't want it peaking is kind of where I'm at. So if we go and navigate back over, so let's kind of navigate back over to what I was showing you guys in Adobe Audition. You don't want your audio to be too peaky. And so if we go here, we can actually go and look and see kind of what we're looking at here. So let's go ahead and switch back over via OBS here. All right. So if we go here and we take a look right here, we'll go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and minimize this so you guys can see it just a little bit. Oh, nope. It's not allowing me to do that. That's really weird. But if we go here and we take this up a little bit, and then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to make this bigger for you guys to see. There we go. And I'm going to reduce the sound so you guys can't hear it. So when you're playing the audio, if you look right here, you're going to want to keep it between -12, -6, -3. So as it's playing, you need to be monitoring. If it's in the yellow, you're in a good spot. If it's in the red, so if what we do here, if we do this, you see how it's now peaking in the red? You really don't want that. And so that's kind of my thought process on that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm not going to save it, and we're going to go ahead and switch back over. All right. There we go. Let's see here. I've never tried EQ. Are you watching male tutorials for EQ? Reason I ask is female voice has different frequencies. Yes, the female voice is going to be way different than the male voice, and it's going to be completely different in post when you're editing and you're doing things like that. So I completely agree with kind of what Andrew said there. But that's a really good question. Hello, Dr. Sten. How are you doing today? If I need to sound like I'm at the bottom of a well, I've got that down. Lily, it sounds like to me you need to do something with your recording space. All right, next question coming in from Alana Games. How do you edit your videos, and what is the software to edit the videos? So I've got a bunch of information on this out there already. I use Adobe Premiere Pro to edit my videos. For my screencast, I use Camtasia. And again, you can watch all of my videos or other YouTube educators out there, and you can really help. Pro Gamer, where can I get audio for my videos? Not quite sure what you mean for that. If you're a gaming channel, I highly recommend you don't use the over-the-head microphones. I highly encourage you to get one of these voiceover microphones like the Blue Yeti or something like that. Andrew says, I love using Adobe Syncing to use Audition to edit audio for Premiere. That is amazing. It's such a wonderful thing. Gord, hello, Andrew. Hello, Dr. Sten. Gord, how are you doing today? Welcome to the stream, and also congratulations on 3,000, my friend. That is an awesome achievement and accomplishment. Let's see here. Andrew, I just can't find pointers for female voiceover. They're out there, Lily. If you go to YouTube and just search for, female voice instructors and things like that, they'll be out there. Vern says, question mark, what do you mean Adobe Syncing? There is a feature. I'm not going to explain it here, but with Adobe Audition in tandem with Premiere Pro, because they're both Adobe products, you're able to actually sync up with their syncing feature. It is absolutely amazing. Dusty, can you show that? I actually do not have Premiere Pro on this PC because I do all of that on my Mac, so I can't show that to you, but there's a bunch of great tutorials on there. Maybe if you guys would like, I can do a video tutorial showing you how to do all of that on my channel if that's something you're interested in. And Andrew, maybe he can do one as well. That would be awesome. Visual tutorial. Is there any type of text-to-speech software which doesn't sound like a reading robot? No. Never, ever use text-to-speech. There is an absolute, one of my pet peeves in YouTube is the people who think they can do tutorials or videos and have text-to-speech do the voice for them. No, do not do that. I encourage you, please, guys, do not use text-to-speech. Even as good as technology is, maybe in 5 years, in 10 years. But guys, please, please, do not use text-to-speech. It will absolutely ruin your videos. It'll be something that years from now you will regret. So please don't use text-to-speech. Yeah, immediately click away, just like what Dan says. Let's see here. What other questions do we have? Oh, we got one from the world of developers. How can I improve audio and how can I capture audience for watch time increment? I think I covered all of that kind of in what we just talked about. Dr. Sten, text-to-speech does get a lot of engagement, all negative. Yes. Yes, unfortunately it does. Let's see here. Demi Hardorf, I think. White noise, why does it occur? Is it because of bad, too cheap microphone? No. No. Most of the time, white noise, background noise has nothing to do with a microphone. White noise has to do with computer fans. It has to do with air conditioning units. It has to do with what's happening in your recording space. That is what white noise is, and that is what background noise is. And through the technique I showed you with Adobe Audition there, you can remove a lot of the white noise. You can eliminate white noise by helping and treating your audio space, getting a carpet or getting a rug to record, getting sound panels, moving your computer away from your microphone, getting a microphone that is, again, possibly not picking up that. So again, it's all about your recording space and treating your recording space, and white noise, again, is something that just irritates the fool out of me. And again, it's very difficult to eliminate if you don't know the source of it. So look around, see if turn the air conditioning off, eliminate, move your fans away, something like that. Great question, though. Great question. Dr. Sten says music can accent like spices. Use it wisely. Oh, man, I have a lot to say about that. Like music beds, being able to duck a music behind a voiceover. Music, a lot of times with voiceover, tells a story. When I'm editing my wedding videos, the music that I choose is oftentimes the thing that takes me the most time because I want that music to tell a story. I want it to go with what's happening in the video so well. I want them to go together. I want them to go together like peanut butter and jelly. I want it to work, and I want it to help tell the story. And so a lot of times what will happen is people think that they can just throw some random music on a video and it makes it better. That is not the way it works. The music is, like Dan said there in chat, it accents what you're doing. It accents exactly what you're doing, and you're wanting to utilize it as you never want the music to be overbearing. You never want the music to be so loud you can't hear what's going on. You never want the music to be so repetitive and so gaudy that it's just absolutely taking over the video. Music can be a great companion piece to video. Hey, I have a question. I have a gaming channel. I don't want to reveal my voice, so how can I fake a voice? Man, I really don't have any options there. Maybe you can use like one of those voice changers to where basically your voice is changed. So basically you can distort your voice. Andrew is thinking the same thing there. So basically the way that works is you can Google voice translator, or you can do it in Audacity, or Andrew said he uses sites like JukeDeck and Epidemic Sounds. Again, those are great, but again, it's not something that's going to be really quick. It's something that, again, is going to take time to do. To fake a voice, you can use text-to-speech. I'm telling you guys, I would stay away from that text-to-speech. That is absolutely something that people are going to get a bad taste in their mouth. After a video is uploaded, is there any way to edit, change the audio other than using YouTube's free music? Not really. I mean, I would do all of that pre-edit, not pre-edit, but when you're doing the edit. Okay, can you tell me some more voice changer that is best for a gaming channel? I'm not quite sure. I don't use them. I like to use my own voice because think of it this way. I'm not quite sure why you would want to alter your voice, but if you do, think of it this way. The voice is who the person is. And so people love transparency. They love connecting with creators. And it's really hard to connect with the creator when their voice sounds like Darth Vader. So just think of it that way. And I'm not sure why you would not want to reveal your voice. Skillinator, I followed your podcast. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Luke, I am your father. All right. What else do we have here? Another question coming in from Lily Tree. What should my EQ curve look like for a female voice? I use Audacity and none of the presets are helpful. That's a really good question. Being that I don't edit, some podcasts that I edit for my clients are females. What I like to do is, as a female, most females don't want to have their voice sound very masculine. That's just, that maybe some do, but most don't. So I tweak the lows a little bit. I kind of bring them down. I bring the mids up, and I bring the highs kind of level to the mids. And so basically you ask how kind of the curve will look. The curve kind of looks like, if you're looking here and you're looking left to right, the lows, you kind of want them down a little bit. The mids and the highs, you kind of level those out. A lot of people are asking about music in chat. Always make sure you utilize music the proper way and legally. So if you want to use songs in your videos, I recommend using the YouTube music library. They're adding to that constantly. I use a service called Audio Hero, which is partnered with TubeBuddy or Audio Blocks. Ton of different services out there where you can download music copyright free that will allow you to use that music on your videos without worrying about getting a copyright strike. Let's see. What else do we have here? Another question coming in from the History Terp. I will be doing videos outside and possibly farther from the camera at times. I have a wireless headset microphone system that plugs in my video camera with a receiver that I would wear to plug the headset into. But I worry that I'll get in places where there would be interference with the signal. How do I monitor that and make sure it's good audio? Suggestions. First thing I would do, History, is number one, with your lapel mics or your shotgun mic, if you're attaching it to yourself, I wouldn't really do the over-the-head stuff, especially on site where you're going. I would get a lapel mic. Look into the Tascam line of microphones. Those are fantastic. And you can attach those to, below your shirt, kind of right here, your collar. The way that I monitor, like if I'm on site doing audio, is that I go in, I do some testing, and there's tools that you can get on basically where the box is, where basically the signal's coming from. You can plug it in there via headphones, like on the Tascam you can, and monitor the audio before you go live or before you start recording. That's kind of what I would do. And when it comes to interference, man, it's going to be tough because there's going to be a lot of places you get into. There will be interference. It's just kind of playing with that and working with that. Is there any specific format for audio settings while output settings like 64, 128, 320? I like 48. I keep it at 48-bit. Stereo, always do stereo. Back in the older days of my YouTube channel, I would export audio into mono. And so people are leaving comments on my older videos, oh, my right ear loved this, or oh, my left ear loved this. So always export in stereo. What stereo means is that, this is the simplistic definition of stereo. There's more details to it, but stereo basically allows the person listening to hear out of both sides of the headphones, right? And then you have obviously Dolby 5.1, which if someone has surround sound, it'll come out of all the different areas. But for purposes of YouTube videos, you'll want it coming, to both sides, left and right channel for headphone use. And I also export in WAV. .wav. MP3 compresses it a little much for me. I like WAV as it's a little more better quality, a little more fidelity in your audio. So when you're exporting your audio, try to do it in 48 or 64-bit stereo, 2-channel going WAV file. That's kind of the different things that I do. Next question coming from Falmsha Music. Nope, that's a simple question there. Dylan asked, what are your thoughts on using a wireless lav mic and or shotgun mic with a DSLR? I think I just spoke on that, but Dylan, I love it because in post, I go back and I, sync it up then. But man, the way a lav mic, the way lav mics work, it's just fantastic. It's right here on the collar. And then if you have a shotgun mic, you put it off frame so it doesn't, isn't seen in frame on camera, and that's kind of what I would recommend doing. I record in my yard as well as in my shop. Do you have any other recommendations? I suspect this would help others as well. If you're in your shop, if you're in your yard, put a lav mic right here. Make sure the signal's good. go to town and record that way. That would be my recommendation. Unless you just want to use like a boom or a shotgun mic, put that on a monopod or a tripod, put it off camera like I just said, and do it that way. Hassam says, I have a question. When I give people copyright strike after some time, they react to my strike and their strike remove. Why? I'm not sure what you mean there. Like, are you saying they're using your content and you're filing a strike against them? Not sure what you mean. If you record in mono in Premiere Pro, use the fill left or fill right audio effect to duplicate the audio to the blank channel. That's a great. Harley is Harley knows more about the musical side of it, the details. Harley is an amazing creator himself, but you can do that. You can fill left or right if the audio in the video editor is only on one or the other. And Harley, maybe you can give the more detailed explanation of the difference between mono and stereo, but I think we all know that we want to do it in stereo. My lav mic is wireless and plugs into the camera. If it plugs into the camera and is wireless, you're golden, right? Like the way that I like to do it is with like the Tascam lav mics that I use is basically there isn't even a receiver, right? Like they just hold the little packet, they just hide it somewhere or attach it to them and then basically do it that way. And it's recording onto a card for me that way. And it's done that way. How can I find love in YouTube? Not too sure, man. If the copyright holder doesn't give you permission, you can't use it. That's absolutely correct. Always use the appropriate distribution of music in everything that you do. Can you use a lav mic like a shotgun mic? Not really, because of the way it works. I mean, maybe you put it up or you put it up on something and do it that way. But a shotgun mic in general is something you're attaching to like a pole or a monopod or a tripod and shotgunning it in, and it's kind of getting kind of the full audio. For some reason, I can't get the audio to sync in post very good. I am probably doing something wrong. Dylan, here's a tip for you. What I like to do is you always want to have your audio recording on camera, and here's why. So here's my camera, right? You always want to have the audio recording on camera, even if you're not going to use it. For the most part, you're not going to use it. Then you record the audio on your lav mic. So then when you bring it into the video editor, here's a trick of the trade. You look for and you see what the waveform looks like, and you look for like big peaks or big gaps in the audio. And if you match them up, and of course, this is dependent on if you hit record at fairly the same time. Look for similarities in the way the waveform looks. Like I showed you that waveform earlier in Audition. Look for different peaks and valleys in the waveform and line them up that way. And then kind of like what Dan says there, you can get a clapper board, which you can clap, snap, something like that. That way you have kind of that big, that big pop in the waveform, and that's basically doing the same thing. But if you use the clapper board, or if you like, what I like to do is, if Andrew says I use a hand clap, can't afford a clapper board. What I like to do is when I do voiceovers and I mess up. So let's say I'm doing a radio ad, which I did one earlier this morning. It was for a station called WDUN. So if I was like, "You're listening to WDUN. This is whatever," and then I mess up, what I'll do is I'll do this. I'll do that for a second. So I'll pop like that. That way in the WAV file, I know there's a hard cut where that line is, space, and then keep going. You see what I'm saying? So when you're recording a video, hey guys, this is Dusty. Welcome back to another one of my videos. Oh, you messed up. Then you pop and do it that way. So I tried that, but for some reason, Adobe doesn't let me line them up. Well, in that case, you probably have snapping on in Premiere Pro. You need to turn that off. Rodney, if you use Premiere, try one-click sync that with a clap and boom. Yeah, that's very helpful. Great questions, though. Wow, you guys have been absolutely killing it today with the questions, and we've been 50 strong average here today, which is amazing, especially for something like this. Yeah, Dylan, you probably have snapping on. I would turn snapping off, because what'll happen is, for me is if snapping is on, you're trying to line things up really closely. You zoom in to the audio into the video, and it'll snap over, and it won't allow you to exactly line the audio and the video up. Andrew, Dusty, the real question, Rode or Shure? Man, two good companies. I have both of their products. Not sponsored by either of them. Rode is just rugged. The Rode products just last. Rode stuff just last. Harley says, Dylan, also change to audio time units from frame time. Yes, that's probably a bigger deal. So if you change it from the measurements of the audio time from the video, from the frame to frame, as opposed to that in the editor, that will help you out. I mean, obviously, I'm using a Shure microphone. The Rode on top of my camera, obviously, is a Rode. So I have both of them. All right, guys, we are getting close here. We're at the 5-minute mark. I just want to say, firstly, thank you guys for joining me today. I know this one was, it wasn't like, oh, how do you grow a small YouTube channel, or how do you, do playlists, or how do you do this or that. I think this one was pretty applicable to everyone, and I think averaging 50 people in this was amazing, and I hope this was helpful for you guys. I really do. I want to thank TubeBuddy again. Also, I want to ask you guys, if you haven't already, to go over and subscribe to my podcast, YouTube Creators Hub podcast. I interview creators. I got one going live later here in about an hour. Hopefully you guys are interested in that. Again, thank you all for stopping by. And Andrew, Dusty, next one idea, how to start a podcast. That may be a good one. Gord says, I think it's great that you mix it up. Awesome. Let's see here. Yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thank you, Andrew, for making this so easy for me every single month. You make it so easy for me. And guys, until next time, keep pressing that record button. What? Keep pressing that record button. We'll talk to you later.